And I did. I turned in my time and came back. And at that time, we had an employment agent here that we could get you jobs. So they took me to Forest Nursery, and they hired me at once. The girl there had been staying out some. So they hired me, and I stayed there 13 years. And then from that, of course, Donald and Chad were born and I decided that I would go into the nursery business on my own. And I went into the greenhouse business because we just had 4 acres. So I called Mr. Leon Cox, and he used to be the greenhouse manager at Forest Nursery, and he had retired. He was 76.
Security Federal Savings Bank is always pleased to provide virtually every banking service you could ever need. But more than that, we are proud to offer a relationship with you, your family, or your company. We've been here supplying just what you need and building a trust, a relationship. And that's something hard to find these days. Our bankers are here for you, here to help. If you are interested in a relationship, come to the friendliest bank in town, Security Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC.
Douglas and Lanier, that's where I choose to be. Douglas and Lanier, that's the agency for me.
For rock-solid insurance coverage or sound financial planning for my family's future, Douglas and Lanier is where I choose to call home.
The MyUsage app is a way to conveniently pay online, anytime, day or night. You can also come by any Caney Fork Electric office and sign up for the prepay option available using the MyUsage app. Know exactly how much electricity is used each day and the cost. Best of all, no monthly bill. You can set up email or text alerts, keep track of your usage, and pay your bill, all with the MyUsage app from Caney Fork. Caney Fork Electric, keeping you informed.
Grace Family Pharmacy announces new medication packaging service. It provides a simpler, safer medication experience through convenient, personalized packaging using the latest in pharmacy robotics. We're located at 357 West Main Street. Our phone number is 931-473-6418.
McMinnville, you're a great place to be. McMinnville, Tennessee.
From the small towns in our community to the big hearts in our own back door. This is their stories. This is a part of their life shared with you.
Good morning. I am Frances Hillis from Beersheba Springs, and I'm married to Donnie Hillis, and we have been married 62 years. We have 2 sons, Donald Hillis and Chad Hillis, 2 daughter-in-laws, Tish Hillis and Leanne Hillis. And then with all the grandchildren, great-grands, and all the whole family, there's 22 of us. And the majority, I think the majority of us live in Warren County. And I have always worked. I went to, as soon as I graduated from high school, I went to Drones Business School in Nashville, and I completed that in 6 months because I doubled up on some of my classes and all. I needed to go to work. So I was there 6 months, and then they got me a job that was part of what they offered, and I went to work for Genesco as a executive secretary, and minimum wage, by the way, was $1 an hour, and I started out at $1.25, and that was in 1960. So I thought I was doing well to get a raise, above the minimum wage. And then I worked there 2.5 years, and I decided one day that I wanted to go back to Beersheba. I had spent the night with my mother, and everything was so quiet and so forth. And we lived down by Vanderbilt in Nashville, and the traffic was so bad. I thought I'm going back to Beersheba Springs, and I did. I turned in my time and came back. And at that time, we had an employment agent here that you get your jobs. So they took me to Forest Nursery, and they hired me at once. The girl there had been staying out some, so they hired me, and I stayed there 13 years. And then from that, of course, Donald and Chad were born and I decided that I would go into the nursery business on my own. And I went into the greenhouse business because we just had 5.25 acres. So I called Mr. Leon Cox, and he used to be the greenhouse manager at Forest Nursery, and he had retired. He was 76, and it just pleased him to no end to come out and talk with Donnie and I about going in the greenhouse business. And I will say he was so particular as that if you got a fly on any bush, he would die. But anyway, he came out and talked with us, and that was in '79, and so we stayed in the nursery business for 28 years. Donnie was a supervisor at Century Electric, and then when he retired from there, they had sold the business, so he was there 25 years. And so I told him, he came home, and I said, don't worry about it. I said, we'll get us some land, and we'll take these liners and plant them. And so we stayed in the nursery 28 years. And so from that, then when I retired from nursery, I think it was 65, I had 5 storage units full of antiques. And I learned from my mother, she loved antiques, and when I was growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of them, but I still have some of the pieces that she purchased or inherited. And so I rented the Victorian Rose up across from the Park Theater, and I stayed there six years. We had 3 rooms full of it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And because I had gone to estate auctions and yard sales and a little bit of everything to collect those, but I had enough to do 3 rooms, and I stayed there 6 years. And then at 6 years, the economy kind of went down, so I closed the shop and stayed home for 4 years. And the 4th year, barn sales was really good, so I had a big barn sale up at Beersheba, and I named it Rosa May. That was my mother, at Rosa May, and barn sale. And Kathy Witt helped me, and it was tremendous. So we had that like the first week of November, and then the next year, Shannon Caldwell opened the vintage market down here. So she talked me into putting a booth in, and I did. And then she stayed, I believe it was 7 months, and she decided she needed to have benefits. So she went to work at Nissan in Deckard. So I took over here, and I've been here the 1st of November. I was here 8 years, and I really enjoy it, and it gives me something to do and be very active in it. And then I love people, and I like to talk, so and now since Donnie has retired, he retired a couple of weeks ago. He didn't know what he was going to do, and I said, well, you're 85, but you're still very active. The Lord has blessed us for our health and all. And I said, why don't you do what we usually do? We get up at 5:30, and you're out the door by 6:30. 6:30, and you go to have breakfast with the men. And I said, after that, why don't you come by the shop, and I can sure find you things to do. And so I've kept him really busy for the last 2 weeks, but he's been so helpful because we were trying to get ready for this. And so he's been a jewel. And I told him, I said, well, you know, we have a lot of men coming through too, and we'll tell him that you're going to be around and you can keep them entertained while the women shop, because the men is the one that's got the pocketbooks. So on and all, we have a good time, and we're just happy to be here and have this opportunity to tell you about what we do. We've had a wonderful life of 62 years, and I hope we continue, because if it hadn't been the Lord helping us, I mean, we've never been in the hospital or anything. So we're just, as I say, happy to be here, and we'll be glad to help you in any way we can. This is cranberry, thumbprint, glasses, and so forth, and these are the very nicest. They are Tiffin. There's two types of these, and they were used at the Sidbury Hotel years ago, and these are Tiffin, and I understand that they came from a jewelry store, and then you can find these sometimes. It's been bought at the 10-cent store, but they're not as nice as these. They're not as heavy, and we've got a complete set, and several people have wanted just maybe the glasses or what, but I like to sell it as a whole set, and it's very pretty, and you can mix and match with a lot of things. Okay, this is a bowling pitcher set that we bought here out by the Civic Center. I think her name was Ms. Rowland, and it's a complete set. It has the chamber and the bowling pitcher and all the others, and it's buffalo pottery. It's a very good make of it, and it's hard to find a complete set, so we're delighted to have that. Oh yes, and we have a fainting couch here, and it was bought in Carthage, and it's a walnut, and I bought this for my husband's bedroom because the matches, we had room for it, and so I had it about 2 weeks. Well, when you know, he likes to hunt and so forth, and here he came in with a gun case, so the couch had to go, and so we put it up here, and I had some boys helping me, and they said, we need to put something on that couch, and so I just happened to have a mannequin, and it's an antique. It still has all the features and so forth. She's as pretty as she can be. So we kind of scared a few people. One girl came in and she saw it and she screamed, and we didn't know what she was screaming at. This is from my mother, and she loved it. It's a walnut, and I've never seen another one like it. It has the legs on it are so different, and I inherited it from my mother, and then I've used it about 20 years in my home, and but now it's for sale, and it is very unique. Now we have a beautiful quilt here. This, when I was in Nashville in the early 60s, 61 or 62, I've always loved pink dogwood, and I went to Cast Knot, and I've got the kit for it to be made, and brought it in. And Helen Martin from Warren County, she was considered the best to quilt, so she did the applique on it, and then Mother wasn't happy with the detail on the flowers, so Mother said that she had put cotton in there. Mother sat and took half of this out and redid it with hand, and then she passed away. So there I had a quilt that needed stitching, and I got one of the Mennonites, Miss Ruth, to do this, and she did, from Altamont, and she did a great fabulous job on it. But when she brought it in, now it's a regular size, but when she brought it back, the little hemming on it, she said she couldn't do because it was handmade. So I contacted a lady in Nashville, and she had worked at Gracie's, and that lady can do anything. And so she hand stitched all of this, and it is lovely. I just didn't have a place to hang it. And then also I had bought from Ms. Martin. She had taken an older one and made a pillow out of the same thing, and along with a throw that when she was sick and all, and we put that with it too. So it is a lovely piece, and that the quilt has not ever been used at all, but we have it for sale now. And Mr. Walling owned it, and after he passed, they had a sale, and it was a fabulous sale. They had a house full of antiques, and needless to say, I purchased several items, and this is one of them. And it's a plantation desk. It's walnut, and it is in 2 pieces, and it is very, very unusual. I've not ever seen another one exactly like it. And since it came from McMinnville and the Walling, he was with Citibank. And then this is from this estate. This is Sandra Hillis' estate here in McMinnville that passed away in July. And this is a Queen Lillian Russell Davis cabinet, a queen-size bed. It has the chest with the glove boxes, and then we have added the Chevelle mirror with it, and then it has the dresser, and it only has one 3-drawer nightstand.
What about this lamp?
Oh yeah, okay. We have 2. Here's a boy and a girl. Okay. This is very unique. A lady came in, and she had these, and they were without a shade, and I fell in love with them. Of course, I like dolls and whatever, and so I purchased them from her, and then carried one out to B&P Lamp, and put the shades on there. So there's new shades, and they're really nice. Okay, then we have the Fostoria pink glassware, and also we have to match that, we have all this Franciscan dinnerware, and we have just tons of it, and that I've purchased over the years. None of my children wanted it, and so we've got it for sale, and we're selling piece by piece or a whole set, and I would say we have at least 10 sets of it or more. And also at home, I do have some very unique pieces of it, like the piggy bank and so forth. So be sure if you need any of that, we'll be glad to supply you with it. Bedroom suit. This is a Lillian Russell desk, which is they're hard to find. And I believe that the bedroom suit was in the 70s, late 70s, because I purchased one at about that time, and I knew Sandra, and she purchased that in the 70s. An estate from Sandra Hillis. It came out of her kitchen, and this hutch was from most of the furniture that I'm going to talk about is from Pittman's in Manchester in the early 70s, and so I purchased the dishes, and they were all in her kitchen, and also the dry sink, which is very hard to find. That came from her place too. We were very fortunate to get several things. And on this is a bed. We just got the headboard and footboard in here. We had to take it down. It's a full, but it is a cherry handmade federal bed, and it is wonderful. And we'll just show the headboard of it here. But it's very very nice, and how it's put together is with a big long screw, and you can't. And then it has something over the top where you can't see that. And then this is another little antique. This came from McMinnville estate, and it's a very unique. You can use it about anywhere, and we like that. It's a small size; it'll fit close. Then we have these dishes. These are, I started out collecting these for the children. Of course, they don't want any of it. But it's a Theodore Haviland apple blossom, and I continued. I don't think we've ever. I've never used it, but there's two pieces of it. This is American, and then this is Rosalind. It has more of the Theodore Haviland, and it has a lot of gold on it, and you wouldn't believe, but I have 85 sets of it, 12-piece place settings. So that's a lot of dishes if you're starting an event place for an event or whatever, and it is just lovely. And the last ones I bought, which was the Rosalind, and they were from Francis Preston here in Warren County. And then this is a nice piece here. It has it is a cherry willet from it's a Jackson Press, and it's from Kentucky, and it also has the drawer, the silverware drawer in it too, which makes it very nice. And it's probably, I'd say it would be probably in the early 50s, but it is nice, and it's a little bit more narrow than the sideboard, and it's a little taller, but being a Jackson Press. This is a full-size Cumberland Valley Davis cabinet bedroom suite, and it's on consignment. The lady inherited it, and she just didn't have room for it, so she asked me if I would sell it for her. And really, on this one, we used to get $5,000 for them, and she said, I said, I can't get that now. She said, get me $2,500 and you can have it. And that is the full bed, the dresser, and the chest, and one nightstand with the drop leaves. And we were blessed to get it because it's in mint condition. Also, we also have a Davis cabinet quilt rack if you need that. And then these dolls over here are Gorham. They're wonderful. When I forgot his name, at Three Star Mall, he sold those, and they are just wonderful. This is a #1, and that is Noelle, that she's for Christmas, and this is Jeremy. So they are very collectible, and people are getting back into the really nice dolls. I had Michael from the antique store at here in McMinnville. He helps me some with decorations, and he came up, and we have some covered, I think they're stoves or refrigerators that the lady that I rent from has got them, and we've just covered those with tablecloths, and then he put on some very nice paintings up. So he's decorated that along with a nice mirror and some Fostoria pieces, and just made it very, very attractive. The one on the left there has been very desirable, and in fact the one on the bottom there, I've already sold it. She's so beautiful. And in putting all these up, we had them just back in the back, and you couldn't see them. So he has made a display, and they are lovely. That's very desirable. It's just pretty to look at, but it does work. And
do you have that?
well, I haven't had it very long. Someone brought it in and said that they were into their attic and they found it. And now the picture there that you're seeing, this was my 80th birthday party. And we had it out under the birthing tree in Warren County. Of course, since I was in the nursery business, I always loved trees. And my sister told me we were going to have a party, and I said, who? She said, you're 80 years old and you're going to have a party. So we all gathered there, and Shelley made the pictures, made a picture of us, and then we got into some limousines and went to the mountain up there. What's the name of that restaurant? Anyway, we had dinner up there, and it was very nice, and that was our families. But it's been 2 years ago, and we've got 2 new ones in the family. And then now you'll get this. Okay, this was not my boys, but they were in the Scouts, and I found this at an auction, one of Donald's auctions here in town, and it has the 2 caps and everything you would need, the handkerchief and all, and the shirts. And I thought it was very unique to find all that in one place. This is a painting that my sister brought. She has some things up here. She's Chris Stevens from Murfreesboro, and this is I had Monty Wanamaker to look at it. It said it's an original tempera painting, probably the late 1800s. Now it's unsigned, but there's been a lot of people that was interested in it, but I just used it because I like to have it here to show, because this is where I write my tickets up and so forth. This is a nice piece here. It's a small roll-top desk, and it's very old, and I'd say it's East Lake also, but most of the time the desks or the roll-top desks are really tall, but this is small. It'll fit just about anywhere, and it's very reasonably priced, and it has a good look about it. Okay, this is a corner hutch. It's very desirable. I sold a lady over in Cookville a bedroom suit, and she asked me if I would bring, she had 2 of them, if I would bring and sell them. So it does hold a lot of dishes, and I'm sorry I don't have a light in this. I should have gotten a fairy light, but I put the American Fostoria, and I have a wide variety of glassware that is Fostoria, and of course I have some sitting out other places in the shop, the larger pieces, but that's something that is always a good look, and it's been very desirable. Okay. Cranberry lamps are very desirable, and I buy every one I can find because the older cranberry lamps, Miss Gillentine and I used to shop for them, and she told me the older ones had gold in them, and the new Fenton does not. So I've got several in my home, and then I brought several up here, but they are very collectible. A bedroom suit that was in every little girl had one of these about in the 50s, and I found this one here in McMinnville, and I bought several pieces, and this is all I have left is a single bed, the triple dresser, and the chest, and then it had the canopy but didn't have a top for the canopy. So I looked everywhere for a canopy, and one day I was back in the back, and I had a stack of crocheted pieces and all, and I saw this, and this was my mother's. Now I don't think she made the top, but she did put the tassels on it, and it just completed it. Fitted very, very nice. And then we have a carousel there, and it came from McMinnville Flower Shop, and I purchased that this year, and I could remember that years ago Miss Rebel Reynolds had a nice home over on Hickory Hills, and she had open house. So I remembered she had a beautiful doll on it, and I called her and asked her might she still have that doll, because I had a carousel that was similar to hers, and she said, I think I do. Said, come over and we'll check it. And sure enough, I got it just to show with that. And of course that was 30 years ago that she had open house over there. And we have a nice Victorian sofa here that it's probably in the 40s, early 40s, and it's still just like new, and of course it's for sale, and we've sold many of them. And then this lamp is a American drape Aladdin, and it has not ever been converted, so that's a showpiece there. And then we have East Lake pump organ, and this came from my aunt Frances. That was my daddy's sister, and I'm named after her. And I used to go there years ago and play on the organ. And I do have the stool that goes with it that has a glass ball legs on it, but at the time I don't have it out. And also we have a little doll carriage here that Donnie bought me one year for Christmas, and Chad purchased me the little Victorian doll for Christmas. But we are extending hours now through Christmas, and you might be interested in some of the things for next year, and we'll be glad to work with you anyway. And if you come in to see something that we've not priced or can't get to, we'll be glad to get you there. So come to see us. We're at the Vintage Market, 208 East Main Street, downtown McMinnville, and we do have a lot of people from out of town coming in, and I always try to visit with them for a minute and find out where they're from and how long they've been here, or if they're looking for a place. So come to see us. We'll be glad to have you at any time.